What up? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And look at you. You done stumbled upon little OTB Saints, where we bring you all the latest black and gold coverage.
Who are the Saints going to draft? Who's going to be their quarterback? What does the salary cap look like? All that information and more.
Hope you enjoy it. Like, subscribe.
Saints quarterback Derek Carr could potentially miss the entire 2025 season due to a shoulder injury. This was news that came out about 4 o'clock Friday evening. So story is now he has a shoulder injury. If it does require surgery, which they have not fully confirmed yet, it does seem like it's leaning that way, then he could potentially miss the entire 2025 season. Now, according to Nick Underhill, it seems like the Saints have known about this for quite some time. He actually put out that possibly they knew about this before they even restructured his contract. If you remember, they guaranteed him $40 million. They restructured it, kind of backloaded that contract to 2026, which is what the Saints do. But what does this mean for them now at that number 9 spot? Because, look, Jake, T-Bob, me, and Lodger, we've all set up here and said, it doesn't really matter who you take because your team's so bad, you're going to get better regardless. I agree with that. I was fully prepared to be like, oh, Will Johnson, because you need a corner, Shedeur McMillan, Tyler Warren, any sort of offensive playmaker would do as well. But does this mean Shedeur Sanders at 9? The Saints might not have another option. They may have to take Shedeur Sanders, or they may feel that they have to take Shedeur Sanders. Now, should they draft Shedeur Sanders? Honestly, I actually still say no. Because if you draft a quarterback in round 1 with no Derek Carr, he'll be expected to play right away due to this injury. I don't think Shedeur Sanders is ready. Look, he certainly has a lot of good traits. He's an accurate passer. He's got a strong arm that was on display numerous times at Colorado. But he holds the ball too long. Everyone likes to point out the sacks. 52 sacks last season led college football. Yes, the pushback you hear from that is, well, his offensive line's not very good. What's he going to do? He's over there running for his life. How about this? Of those 52 sacks, over 40 of them, he held the ball 4 seconds or longer. So his offensive line might not be that good, but Shedeur Sanders is not doing his O-line any favors. It's funny because like the way Shedeur plays, look, once the ball leaves his hand, he's as accurate as anybody in this draft class. There's no question about it. My concern for Shedeur Sanders goes from the snap to the time he lets go of the ball. If you watch him play, he kind of runs around back there, you know, like a Johnny Manziel did or a Kyler Murray in college, like some of these mobile quarterbacks. The problem is he plays like a mobile quarterback who really doesn't have that much ability to run. He can run a little bit. I think that's something that people don't highlight enough. He can run a little bit, but you're not going to fear Shedeur Sanders running. You're not going to be scared about him beating you on the ground. His legs is something that's not an issue. He can run when he has to. He's never going to be that guy that's going to run 10, 15 times a game, carve you up. It's not who he is. He's not a Jaden Daniels. So it seems like the Saints have known about this before they restructured the contract. Again, we have an article on LouisianaSports.net. Ross Jackson wrote it. He quoted Nick Underhill in this piece. So what's the Saints' best option? In my opinion, stick to your original draft plan. Whatever that may be. If your original plan was to draft Shedeur Sanders, by all means, go get him. Obviously, the Derek Carr situation is bad news, but the last thing you need is a knee-jerk reaction. You look at all these months that you've done preparation for the draft. You've dove into all these prospects. You've brought them in for visits. You scrap everything because your quarterback goes down. And I understand quarterback's a big position. Obviously, it's the most important position in professional sports. So, sticking to your original draft plan, to me, is what you do. Now, is that Shedeur McMillan? Is that Tyler Warren? Is that Ashton Jeanty? Is it Shedeur Sanders? Whoever it is, take them because you did your homework on that guy. Take them because you think that's the best fit at number 9. Not because, oh, well, our quarterback's out for the season. We're in panic mode. Let's go grab somebody that maybe we didn't do enough homework on. And I'm not saying they didn't do their homework on Shedeur Sanders. By all accounts, they did. But if someone falls to you there, you think is a good value that you truly believe can change this franchise, if you think Shedeur Sanders is the next franchise quarterback, take it. I just personally don't. At least not yet. I think maybe he could become that if he sits for a year. The problem is, if you bring him in with no Derek Carr, I imagine you're going to start him over Spencer Rattler. But what if you don't take Shedeur Sanders? Could you go with a Spencer Rattler? Or even sign a veteran? The problem with signing a veteran is there's not that many out there. I mean, there's not a ton of free agent quarterbacks remaining. If you go look, the guys you have available right now are Carson Wentz, who at one time looked like he was going to be MVP of the NFL back in 2017. He had the knee injury. Nick Foles takes over, takes his team to the playoffs, goes to the Super Bowl, wins the Super Bowl. The rest is history. We know about it. He moves on. He goes to the Washington Redskins. Doesn't have a ton of success there. They bring him in for a year in Indianapolis. Was actually okay there. Goes to be Patrick Mahomes' backup with the Kansas City Chiefs. That's kind of like maybe option A right now in free agency. If that's a guy you maybe want to kick the tires on. Maybe not even as a starter, but if you don't draft a quarterback in the first round, you have Spencer Rattler, Jake Haener. You're going to need to add another guy anyways. So maybe you add Carson Wentz and you're not even planning on starting him. You just need another body, a physical body in that quarterback room. Carson Wentz is an option. And I get it. He's fallen off since that injury. He's never been able to regain that MVP form. But if you go look at his numbers, I mean, he has over a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. He wasn't quite as bad in Indianapolis as everybody said. I mean, he was hit and miss in Washington, but that whole franchise was a mess. How much of that's on him? How much of that's on the franchise? And then he was just Patrick Mahomes' backup. He played in one game this year. He went 10 of 15, 119 yards. No touchdowns, no picks. They did lose that game. That was the final regular season game where they were resting all their starters because they had the 1 seed locked up. That's option 1 in free agency. Option 2, Teddy Bridgewater. Saints fans love Teddy Bridgewater. They were familiar with Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy had a lot of success when he was here last time. He filled in for Drew Brees. He went 5-0 as a fill-in quarterback. He's bounced around the league. He's had a lot of success at a lot of different places. The problem I have with Teddy Bridgewater, if you remember, he retired from the NFL. He went to coach his high school team, led them all the way to the state championship. After that, came back to the NFL, joined the Detroit Lions for that playoff run. So, in terms of being an everyday football player from start to finish in a season, Teddy Bridgewater hadn't done that in over 2 years. How physically ready is he? I'm sure he's fine. He's a professional. He's still only 32 years old, but that's a question mark as well. So whether it's Spencer Rattler, Carson Wentz, Teddy Bridgewater, there's not a ton out there right now. Either way, 2025 will likely be another rough season. I've always been of the opinion of, hey, wait, the 2026 quarterback class is a lot better. Don't reach for a quarterback that if you're not absolutely in love with them here in 2025 because of this Derek Carr news. And, you know, the pushback with that, there's some downside there as well. You can say, okay, well, you don't know where you're drafting in 2026. What if you win games you're not supposed to in 2025? You surprise some people, you're drafting at the back half of the first round. You don't have as good of a draft pick as you have this year. That's certainly true. However, I think the 2026 quarterback draft is just that much better than this year. I mean, essentially, you have 2 guys that you believe are going to go in the first round. Cam Ward's going number 1 overall. We all know that. And then Shedeur Sanders, somewhere in the first round, he's projected. People don't know yet. Is somebody going to reach for him? Is he going to fall? Where is he going to go? But everyone believes that those 2 quarterbacks will be in the first round. Some say Jackson Dart may sneak in there, but right now, as far as first round locks, Cam Ward, Spencer Rattler. Or Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders. But I still think the 2026 class is better. Look who could potentially be coming out. Gabe Klubnik could be coming out. Garrett Nussmeier will be coming out. Arch Manning could be coming out. I mean, those 3 guys right there, somebody will be there when the Saints are picking. You would imagine, unless they go 1, 2, 3, which is a possibility. It's happened before. But I just like this class as a whole better. You're a lot deeper. I mean, essentially, if you don't get Shedeur Sanders at 9, you're not drafting a quarterback in the first round. You're not drafting Jackson Dart that high, unless you trade back, which might be the smart thing to do, but let's be honest, Mickey Loomis is never going to do that. I'd be okay with maybe taking a Tyler Shuck at 40 or a Quinn Ewers in round 3. Somebody that you can develop. Again, you can develop Shedeur, but if you're going to spend first-round draft capital on a guy that you don't believe can start right away, I don't know if you take him. And maybe they do believe that. Maybe they do. Maybe they have done their homework. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're right. Maybe Shedeur Sanders can step in day one and play quarterback for this team and do well and have success. Either way, though, without the veteran presence of Derek Carr, it's either going to be Spencer Rattler, a free agent that nobody else has signed yet for multiple reasons, or Shedeur Sanders. No matter what, 2025 might be a rough season. Saints fans might have to hold on one more year. Maybe year 2 of Kellen Moore is where you really find your groove. I think it's going to be hard to do it here in 2025.
Wow, just amazing black and gold takes right there, Jake.
I don't think I've ever heard any takes that are better than the two guys that just gave you that take.
And you can keep getting them by going ahead and liking, subscribing, ringing the bell to get notifications when we post. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next OTB Saints.